guys, this is Comic Uno. Today I'm doing a review for The Flash, issue 24. And before I start talking about this issue, just want to give you guys a little update. Of course, I have Comic Uno episode 19, and that's a show where I review all the comics I read this week in one show. And here are the exclusive comics for that show, which is Pretty Deadly, issue 1, Daredevil, issue 32, Red Lanterns, issue 24, Teen Titans, issue 24, Green Team, issue 5, and Superior Carnage, issue 4. So if you want to go check out those reviews, go to Comic Uno, episode 19. But let's talk about The Flash, issue 24. I've been excited for this issue just because I've been loving the Reverse Flash story arc and just loving this series in general. And then we get Francis Manapul's art with, I can never pronounce the guy's name, but Bersolato's writing and Francis Manapul's writing. Just a great creative team. And the cover's pretty cool. I think it's the same problem I do have with the issue. Very bright colors. It's of course understandable because it's more Reverse Flash's colors, but I think it does affect the reading of the issue just a little. I just think it could have been better coloring because it was just so bright and kind of in your face. And you see that with the cover, and that does happen a lot throughout the issue. But yeah, still a cool cover, but let's see what's going on with the story. So in this issue, first I just want to say you do have to read Reverse Flash, the Villains Month issue first, because it continues from that. Is it needed? I guess not. It does explain itself through the issue, so I don't think you'll be lost, but I think you would get a little bit more powerful storytelling, and also you'd be like, oh, I get why this is happening. You wouldn't feel like you missed something. So I would read the Reverse Flash, Villains Month issue if you haven't read it yet. So we do get to see Reverse Flash just wants to kill his father. And Iris, even the kid Iris, is like, what are you doing? You're a monster. And Flash does overcome Reverse Flash, takes his powers away and says, this is not what you should be doing. You're just ruining your childhood. You're the monster where your father was the monster. Look at Iris's face. So Flash does take away his power, and he says, you know what, I gotta look forward. That's what I gotta keep doing. That's who the Flash is. So he looks forward, he does defeat Reverse Flash, and Iris sees Reverse Flash and, sees her brother, Daniel, who is Reverse Flash. He's like, how could you do this? And she's like kind of hugging him for the last time. He's like, how can you do this? You can't be this monster. And you're not saying it like she's stupid and like, oh my god, I trust you. It's really just saying kind of a last goodbye with Iris. And I gotta say, one thing they did with Iris perfectly is they don't make her a stupid character. They made her such a likable character where usually with romances of superheroes, they sometimes make them stupid and, unlikable. But with Iris, they make her so likable in this series, which I'm totally impressed with because not a lot of writers do tend to do that. So I was very happy to see that. And then we get to see a little bit story of Ilias, who was the scientist who wanted to take Flash's powers. He's like, Ilias, you gotta just stop. So I thought that was hilarious, because he's just one of those story arcs that are just in the back of your mind. Like, the main story arc you're focusing on is the Reverse story arc, or the Reverse Flash story arc, and it's just like hits that one little problem. So I thought that was awesome, and I love that scene. It kind of makes you understand as a reader, it's like, yeah, we weren't even worrying about that, but thanks for kind of concluding that story at the same time. So we get to see Daniel is now in prison. Iris is like, I don't trust you. And Daniel's like, why don't you use your powers? Get me out of here. It's like, I don't have my powers anymore because Ilias attacked me. But even if I did, I wouldn't use it because, I know my past made me who I was and I wouldn't change that for the world. And I wish you knew that also. So I love that whole discussion between them. So great for Iris, and I can't wait to see more of her character. And they just developed this character throughout the story arc. I was kind of disappointed she didn't have the powers, though. I just want like that hint of, yeah, I do have the powers. But there's some sort of hint in the end, and I'll get to the Patty story because that does happen more in the middle. But there is a hint in the end that something's going on here, because after she does talk to her brother, there's the clock that stops. So we get to see the clock is moving, tick, tick, and then tss. So does that have to do with Reverse Flash? Does that have to do with Iris? I'm really intrigued about that, because it has something to do with something. So I'm very intrigued by that. And then we have the Patty story, seeing that Barry will do anything for Patty. And honestly, most of the time I will be a little annoyed with couples that will ruin like such a famous couple like Iris and Barry, but I like Patty and Barry. It's not like a Carly and Spider-Man. I just did not like that that relationship. But Patty and Barry, they just kind of fit, and it feels like one of those first love kind of stories, like Lana and Clark in Smallville, and then it was Lois and Clark. It just feels like one of those romances, which just, it fits for me. So I do like Patty and Barry, and I think it works here. And one thing I like about Barry's story that we're going to see more is that Barry is looking into the mother's death, his mother's death. He's like, I know my father didn't do it, and this is not me looking into the past. This is me changing the future. And now Patty sees all these things on the floor. It's like, oh, Barry, you're doing this again. But now we see that Barry's not looking into the past to change anything, because he saw that's not what you do, because then if he does do that, maybe he'll change his relationship with Patty and things he cares about here. But he's like, no, I just want to make my father not guilty, that way I can have a relationship with him again. So honestly, really love this issue. I would say the only problem I have with it, before I get into the good of everything, which I kind of explained while I was explaining the story, the only bad thing is that I felt like the Reverse Flash fight was a little rushed. It was very easy for Flash. You know, this has been going on for story arcs, that Reverse Flash is such a threat, and I thought it was a little bit too easy that Flash was like, oh, let me just grab you and I'll get the power. So that was like a minor detail that I didn't enjoy. And then, of course, again, the beginning was very bright. It kind of... I think it could have been better if it had a less brighter tone. It was understandable because it was the Reverse Flash story, but I thought it was a little bit too bright, at least for me. So I didn't love the colors in the beginning. But then we had the regular colors, you know, that yellow color that we usually get with Flash that I really love with this series. So it wasn't the whole issue, you had that coloring. But those are like the minor details that I didn't like from the issue. But honestly, love the Iris story, love the Daniel story. I thought that was one of the best, and I can't wait to see where all these characters go. And they just plant so many seeds for the next story, which, you know, most of these type of story arcs will be like, alright, we finished a story arc, here's a little hope for you. But like, they planted so many seeds for the future that it feels like it's a whole different story arc. It doesn't just feel like an end, it just feels like a continuous story, which comic books tend not to do. So I really enjoyed this one. I give it a 4.5. Again, not a perfect grade. There's some little minor details here, but still really enjoyed this one. I had a blast with it. It was the first issue I read. If you're not reading Flash, pick up this series. It's one of the best comics I'm reading right now, and I'm still excited for what's to come. Even though this creative team is leaving, I'm so excited to see where the series goes. But I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno, and guys, don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic Uno and the Rant Situations, and I'll see you guys later. And guys, also don't forget to like my Facebook page, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.